Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, may the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto thee, and to us, and to all your beloved children everywhere. Dearly beloved, make it so. Hari Om Tat Sat. All right. Welcome and namaste. We are beginning the first of our sessions in 2024 on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Of course, the message of the Gospel does not recede in time because the years pass. It is ever immediate. It is ever present for us, was designed for us by Sri Ramakrishna and Mahendranath Gupta. So let us celebrate the fact, along with the new year, that we have this great spiritual food to take in, digest, and make part of ourselves and our spiritual journey. So thank you all who have joined us this evening, and we look forward to whatever you might have to say. You know that your comments, concerns, and questions are always more than welcome. They are intensely a part of our studying the art of spirituality together. So please be forthcoming if you have something to offer in the way of a comment, a concern, or a question. So Haima is our beloved reader. She will tell us where we are in the book, and we will go forward.
Thank you, Brother Shankara. Good evening and namaste, everybody. We are on page 130 on PDF. The topic would be attitude of yogis. That's where I would be starting. I also posted on the chat, just in case if anybody wants to read it.
Haima?
Yes.
The printed version doesn't have the subheadings. So could you...
it is on page 134 in the printed edition.
Thank you, Balakrishna.
A little different in the book than the PDF. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Attitude of yogis. That's the topic. I'm going to start there. The yogi seeks to realize the Paramatman, the super soul. His ideal is the union of the embodied soul and the supreme soul. He withdraws his mind from sense objects and tries to concentrate it on the Paramatman. Therefore, during the first stage of his spiritual discipline, he retires into solitude and with undivided attention practices meditation in a fixed posture. But the reality is one and the same. The difference is only in name. He who is Brahman is verily Atman, and again, he is the Bhagavan. He is Brahman to the followers of the path of knowledge, Paramatman to the yogis, and Bhagavan to the lovers of God. The steamer had been going toward Calcutta, but the passengers, with their eyes fixed on the master and their ears given to his nectar-like words, were oblivious of its motion. Dakshineshwar, with its temples and gardens, was left behind. The paddles of the boat churned the waters of the Ganges with a murmuring sound. But the devotees were indifferent to all this. Spellbound, they looked on a great yogi, his face lighted with a divine smile, his countenance radiating love, his eyes sparkling with joy, a man who had renounced all for God and who knew nothing but God. Unceasing words of wisdom flowed from his lips. Next topic, reasoning of jnanis.
I think I just wanted to,
Sure.
because the para you started with yogi,
Mhm.
I think we have to make sure we remember the previous two paras where it says how a bhakta looks at it, because the bhakta looks at the world as real.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to bring that attention.
If you all like, I can go back attitude of jnanis and bhaktas. I can read.
No, that's fine.
No, I just wanted you to.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, he's just making sure that we're aware of the comparison and contrast.
Yes.
The master is talking about each of the spiritual paths in turn.
Mhm.
And so now he's talked about the yogis.
Mhm. This is
By this, he means those who practice Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. The clue is the seated in a fixed posture. So this is the asana of the practitioner of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Thank you, Balakrishna. That was a very good catch.
Thank you. Reasoning of jnanis is the next subtopic.
Mhm.
Master, the jnanis who adhere to the non-dualistic philosophy of Vedanta say that the acts of creation, preservation, and destruction, the universe itself and all its living beings, are the manifestations of Shakti, the divine power. If you reason it out, you will realize that all these are as illusory as a dream. Brahman alone is the reality, and all else is unreal.
Now read that, please, again, and if you reason it out.
Okay. Master says, the jnanis who adhere to the non-dualistic philosophy of Vedanta say that the acts of creation, preservation, and destruction, the universe itself and all its living beings, are the manifestations of Shakti, the divine power. If you reason it out, you will realize that all these are as illusory as a dream.
So they have only a transitory reality. For the jnani, they have no real reality, no capital R reality. They are, as Adi Shankaracharya says, a superimposition on the reality. As we think of night and day, so we think of dark and light, we think of good and bad, we think of all of these things, but they're all just illusions. They're according to the jnani, no such thing exists. It's all just Brahman's dream. That's why it's so powerful and compelling. It is Brahman's dream. And so it has the full power of what is called Shakti behind it. Any comments or concerns or questions? about any of that?
I don't see a conflict with Jnani and Bhakti. I think you can be both at the same time. I mean, you can't always be in that high of a state to where the unreality of what the world apparent is just intellectual, and so for all the rest of the times, I think it's just why even the realized people, they still practice because they can't be in that state all the time.
Well said.
All the rest of the time is all bhakti.
Well, it's all something.
Well, I mean
They'll characterize it as they see fit.
yeah.
The master has given us four different takes on it.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say all, but
Yeah.
generally.
General. And it was said of the master that he was all bhakta on the outside, all jnani on the inside.
I think that is why Vivekananda preaches, Shiva, Jiva, take care of Jiva as Shiva. So that is why that is the ultimate truth.
Yes. Very well said. We look upon all other beings as Shiva. And so we serve in that way. We don't have compassion. We're not helpful. All of that is there in the background, but the real motivation is service, to serve the other as the divine being. Serve Jiva as Shiva. Thank you, Bala.
I kind of think of it as, all your practice in bhakti or karma yoga, that, something that Swami said is, we have the whatever text we read and understand, we have to have the karma to understand it and to read it. And, I think that all that the practice, compounds that the karma that it takes to be able to come into contact with the text and understand it in order to be, to actually live, an existential jnani experience.
Well said. Yeah, it's no good unless you live it. It's all just words on a page or words heard from a teacher, unless it's lived. So we have.
If I say something, actually, Sri Ramakrishna says, if we go further up, his advice to I think it is Pandit Shashidhar. He says, he gives a wonderful example. I can't forget that one. Like, for example, he says, you can read the almanac anytime. It gives you when it's going to rain, when it's not going to rain, and all those things. But if you squeeze it, you can't get a drop from it.
No,
the same way he says, you have to experience it.
Very well, very beautifully selected metaphor from the master.
Yeah.
Beautifully selected. Yes, you can squeeze the almanac for all you're worth, and you won't get a drop of water, even though it tells you exactly when it is going to rain. You don't get the rain from squeezing the almanac. Thank you. Anything else from anyone? Okay, please read on, dear.
Yeah. Brahman alone is the reality, that's with capital R, and all else is unreal. Even this very Shakti is unsubstantial, like a dream. In the quotes, but though you reason all your life, unless you are established in Samadhi, you cannot go beyond the jurisdiction of Shakti. Even when you say, I'm meditating or I'm contemplating, still you are moving in the realm of Shakti within its power. Identity of Brahman and Shakti is the next little topic. Thus, Brahman and Shakti are identical. If you accept the one, you must accept the other. It is like fire and its power to burn. If you see the fire, you must recognize its power to burn also. You cannot think of fire without its power to burn, nor can you think of the power to burn without fire. You cannot conceive of the sun's rays without the sun, nor can you conceive of the sun without its rays. What is milk like? Oh, you say it is something white. You cannot think of the milk without the whiteness. And again, you cannot think of the whiteness without the milk. Thus, one cannot think of Brahman without Shakti, or of Shakti without Brahman. One cannot think of the absolute without the relative, or the relative without the absolute. The primordial power is ever at play. She is creating, preserving, and destroying in play, as it were. This power is called Kali. Kali is verily Brahman, and Brahman is verily Kali. It is one and the same reality.
Now let's pause here for a moment.
Yes.
At the time that the master was saying this was heretical. It was heretical to say that the absolute and the relative were identical. The pundits of the time were very eloquent on the fact that the relative was unreal, and only the absolute was real, and that this was what the master was saying, which was brought to the attention of the important minds of Calcutta at the time. It was very, very, it was unique. And so this is why it's so good for us to study it, because though we rather casually accept the absolute and the relative as identical, because of the way we've been taught, it was not so at the time of the master's life and teachings. Anything else from anyone about that? Okay, dear, please read on.
When we think of it as inactive, that is to say, not engaged in the acts of creation, preservation, and destruction, then we call it Brahman. But when it engages in these activities, then we call it Kali or Shakti. The reality is one and the same. The difference is in name and form. It is like water called in different languages by different names, such as Jal, Pani, and so forth. There are 3 or 4 ghats on a lake. The Hindus who drink water at one place call it Jal. The Muslims at another place call it Pani, and the English at a third place call it water. All these denote one and the same thing, the difference being in the name only. In the same way, some address the reality as Allah, some as God, some as Brahman, some as Kali, and others by such names as Rama, Jesus, Durga, Hari. That is the topic of identity of Brahman and Shakti. Now, different manifestations of Kali. Keshav, with a smile, describe to us, sir, in how many ways Kali, the Divine Mother, sports in this world. Master with a smile. Oh, she plays in different ways. It is she alone who is known as Mahakali, Nitya-Kali, Smasana-Kali, Raksha-Kali, and Shama-Kali. Mahakali and Nitya-Kali are mentioned in the Tantra philosophy. When there were neither the creation nor the sun, the moon, the planets, and the earth, and when darkness was enveloped in darkness, then the mother, the formless one, Mahakali, the great power, was one with Mahakala, the absolute. Shamakali has a somewhat tender aspect and is worshipped in the Hindu households. She is the dispenser of boons and the dispeller of fear. People worship Raksha Kali, the protectress, in times of epidemic, famine, earthquake, drought, and flood. Smasana Kali is the embodiment of the power of destruction. She resides in the cremation ground, surrounded by corpses, jackals, and terrible female spirits. From her mouth flows a stream of blood. From her neck hangs a garland of human heads, and around her waist is a girdle made of human hands. These are the different manifestations of Kali. Now, beginning of a cycle. After the destruction of the universe, at the end of a great cycle, the Divine Mother garners the seeds for the next creation. She is like the elderly mistress of the house who has a hodgepodge pot in which she keeps different articles for household use. All laugh. Oh, yes, housewives have pots like that, where they keep sea foam, blue pills, small bundles of seeds of cucumber, pumpkin, and gourd, and so on. They take them out when they want them. In the same way, after the destruction of the universe, my Divine Mother, the embodiment of Brahman, gathers together the seeds for the next creation. After the creation, the primal power dwells in the universe itself. She brings forth this phenomenal world and then pervades it. In the Vedas, creation is likened to the spider and its web. The spider brings the web out of itself and then remains in it. God is the container of the universe and also what is contained in it. Is Kali, my Divine Mother, of a black complexion? She appears black because she is viewed from a distance. But when intimately known, she is no longer so. The sky appears blue at a distance, but look at it close by and you will find that it has no color. The water of the ocean looks blue at a distance, but when you go near and take it in your hand, you find that it is colorless. The master became intoxicated with the divine love and sang, "Is Kali, my mother, really black? The naked one, of blackest hue, lights up the lotus of the heart," and so on. The master continued, "Bondage and liberation are both of her making. By her Maya, only people become entangled in woman and gold. And again, through her grace, they attain their liberation. She is called Savior and the remover of the bondage that binds one to the world." That's the end of that topic. Any comments, Brother Shankara? Or should I move on? Or from anyone?
Hold on just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
This philosophy, this ideation that there is nothing other than this creative power it manifests as it will, when it will. In the meantime, when it's time for there to be no manifestation, as Sri Ramakrishna says, the mother gathers together the seeds for the next creation, or hodgepodge. So many of these things, at the time Sri Ramakrishna was teaching, there was a lot of punditry around what was creation, what was the Jagat, what was the universe, with all of its attributes. This we just heard Sri Ramakrishna's explanation, which is much simpler, much more direct, much more to the point, and to that point, it is based on his own personal experience, spiritual experience. So it's not speculation or conceptualization. It is his personal experience that this is what actually happens. So thanks for pausing and asking.
Sure, Brother Shankara.
Anything else from anyone? All right, dear, please move on.
Divine Mother's Sport. Then the master sang the following song in his melodious voice. In the world's busy marketplace, O Shama, thou art flying kites. High up they soar on the wind of hope, held fast by Maya's string. Their frames are human skeletons, their sails of the three gunas made, but all their curious workmanship is merely for ornament. Upon the kite strings thou hast rubbed them manja paste of worldliness, so as to make each straining strand all the more sharp and strong. Out of 100,000 kites, at best but one or two break free, and thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. On favoring winds, says some Ramprasad, the kites set loose will speedily be borne away to the infinite across the sea of the world. The master said, the Divine Mother is always playful and sportive. This universe is her play. She is self-willed and must always have her own way. She is full of bliss. She gives freedom to one out of 100,000. A Brahmo devotee says, but sir, if she likes, she can give freedom to all. Why then has she kept us bound to the world? Master, that is her will. She wants to continue playing with her created beings. In a game of hide and seek, the running about soon stops if in the beginning all the players touch the granny. If all touch her, then how can the game go on? That displeases her. Her pleasure is in continuing the game. Therefore, the poet said, one of 100,000 kites, at best, but one or two break free. And thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. That's the end of the topic, Divine Mother Sport. Any comments, Brother Shankara, on this? Or
Well, I'd like to hear from anyone else who finds something interesting to assimilate or react to here. This is very profound and dense, what we've been given. Anything at all from anyone?
I have a comment, Brother Shankara. What is going on in the world? It seems like it's her play. This is the one which is creating, destroying, and then recreation later on. So what we are watching and seeing and experiencing in our lifetime right now seems like part of this, what we are reading right now.
Yes, of course, you're right. And it's very hard for us to
It's very
understand
difficult.
how this can be her sport, her play,
It is. It's heartbreaking. Her
It's
sport
good.
you were playful.
because the world is in such difficulty.
Mhm.
But this is the fact of creation, and it comes and it goes. There will be other times when things will be predominantly peaceful. There's a golden age coming, we're told,
Hmm.
in which that will be the case. And here at the end of the Kali Yuga, it should not surprise us that things are very, very, very angry and tough.
It seems like she's putting the evilness of the evil people out in the forefront to destroy the evil again at the end. Just like Devi Mahachyam, putting the evilness of the evil out at the forefront and then destroy the evilness.
Yes,
Seems to be
it
what
is, as it says in the Devi Mahatmya, the Chand. But
exactly.
it is your nature to subdue the conduct of the wicked, but you direct your missiles against them,
Yes.
so that even the inimical ones, purified by your missiles, attain the higher worlds. Such is your most kindly intention toward them. So even the most evil people are her children.
That's right.
And so she's subduing them,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily a pretty process.
Brother Shankara, I was thinking today about something that uh, goes along with this. It's pretty common to hear people say, if God exists, why does he or she permit wars to continue and natural disasters and all those kinds of things? Basically, the answer is, I think, because we were created with free will. And that's part of the play. If we didn't have free will, if God pulled all the strings and we were just puppets, that wouldn't be very entertaining. It wouldn't be much of a play. So unfortunately, we're stuck in this play, whether we like it or not.
Yes,
It's true.
very well said. And as I said, it comes and goes. The Mother is the all-pervading Devi who constantly presides over the senses of all beings and governs all the elements. And so things are governed by her, but as you said, through our having her children as her children, we have the free will to behave this way or that.
Well, one of the direct disciples even said, well, her play is our death, and he answered that question. I think they kind of phrased that as the question of evil. But, he asked, well, who dies?
Exactly.
So he went back to the Yanni.
Exactly. Who's asking this question? Who dies? Who suffers? There's only one. There's only one. And it suffers, it dies, it becomes glorious, it becomes ennobled, it becomes realized. All these are points on a spectrum. Show me the line of demarcation where the world of matter ends and the world of spirit begins. This was a challenge offered by Swami Brahmananda to his disciple, Avani, who became later Swami Prabhupada. Show me the line of demarcation where the world of matter ends and the world of spirit begins. There is no such line of demarcation. It's from total darkness to total light and everything in between.
Yeah, the same thing Sri Ramakrishna also talks about. This is the same coin, Nitya and Leela, both are the same coin, the opposites of the same coin. And at one place he says this Leela is to fructify our karma so that we go beyond all these things. And of course, at the other place, he said what Bhagavan Das said, who is asking this question? There is another one I forgot. I'm trying to remember the third one. He gave three different answers.
Very well. Well said. Anything else from anyone? All right, dear, please go on.
Reassurance to householders is the topic. It is as if the Divine Mother said to the human mind in confidence, with a sign from her eye, go and enjoy the world. How can one blame the mind? The mind can disentangle itself from worldliness if, through her grace, she makes it turn toward herself. Only then does it become devoted to the lotus feet of the Divine Mother. Whereupon Sri Ramakrishna, taking upon him, as it were, the agonies of all householders, sang a song complaining to the Divine Mother. Mother, this is the grief that sorely grieves my heart, that even with thee for mother, and though I am wide awake, there should be robbery in my house. Many and many a time I vow to call on thee, yet when the time for prayer comes round, I have forgotten. Now I see it all thy trick. As thou hast never given, so thou receivest not. NUGHD not. Am I to blame for this, O mother? Hadst thou but given, surely then thou hadst received. Out of thine own gifts I should have given to thee. Glory and shame, bitter and sweet, are thine alone. This world is nothing but thy play. Then why, O blissful one, dost thou cause a rift in it? Says Ramprasad, thou hast bestowed on me this mind, and with the knowing wink of thine, I bidden it at the same time to go and enjoy the world. And so I wander here forlorn through thy creation, blasted, as it were, by someone's evil glance, taking the bitter for the sweet, taking the unreal for the real. The master continued, men are deluded through her Maya and have become attached to the world. Says Ramprasad, thou hast bestowed on me this mind, and with a knowing wink of thine, I bidden it at the same time to go and enjoy the world. Brahmo devotee says, sir, can't we realize God without complete renunciation? Master with a laugh, of course you can. Why should you renounce everything? You are all right as you are, following the middle path like molasses, partly solid and partly liquid. Do you know the game of knacks? Having scored the maximum number of points, I am out of the game. I can't enjoy it, but you're very clever. Some of you have scored 10 points, some 6 and some 5. You have scored just the right number, so you are not out of the game like me. This game can go on. Why, that's fine. All laugh. I tell you the truth. There's nothing wrong in your being in the world, but you must direct your mind toward God. Otherwise, you will not succeed. Do your duty with one hand and with the other hold to God. After the duty is over, you will hold to God with both hands. That's the end of that little topic, which is called reassurance to householders. Any comments, Brother Shankara?
Notice that there is no qualification or saying ifs, ands, or buts, or maybes. You will at one time, as you move through existence, hold with one hand to God, and with the other hand do your duties.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, you will hold with both hands to God.
Duty is over.
And the master and says this without qualification. Doesn't say that might happen. No, that will happen. And it will happen for each of us. So each of us can take this under consideration and let it reassure us. I think the title is Reassurance to Householders. So let us be reassured. Let us have the feeling that the master is in our corner, has our back. All these more modern expressions for how the master is with us. Practice just a little, he says, and someone will come forward to help you. That someone, of course, is Mother Kali herself. She's the one who came forward to help him. Anything else from anyone?
This is Jeff. I have two quick observations. So in the last couple of sentences from the master, he says, do your duty with one hand and with the other hold to God. After the duty is over, you will hold to God with both hands. I guess what's unsaid there is if you keep both your hands on your duties, then God never enters the picture. You're not giving the process a chance. And once you have one hand holding on to God, then it's going to happen for you.
Precisely.
And
Very
the other,
well.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, very well reasoned.
And the other thing is a question. Wasn't it Swami Prabhavananda who always said, give everything a Godward turn?
That was his regular admonition to us. Give everything a Godward turn. See everything in terms of the divine. There is nothing but the divine, so don't be thinking that there's something other than the divine. No. Whatever it is that you encounter, give it a Godward turn. See it in terms of the divine. Divinize it. Swami Sri Ramakrishna says. And if you work at that, it actually does happen.
Brother Shankara, my understanding of duty with both hands is, this is what I was thinking. When people hold duty with both hands, sometimes the feeling of I am in control of everything. There's no God in that, because I know everything, I'm in control. I have hold on it. So later on they find out I'm not in control because things happen, something falls apart, then what they expected doesn't happen, then they realize I am not in control of everything. It takes a long time. So that is what it is. Duty in holding with both hands is I'm in control of everything. There's no God in that picture, right?
Very well reasoned, dear. Very well thought out. Yes, that's exactly it. And
Actually,
God comes into the picture.
Yes. When you're
We
here.
are shaken to our core.
Yes, when we're doing our duties and then, well, leave the result to God in our minds. And we keep doing that, then we are holding one hand this, then we can move on as a householder, leaving other
Yes.
whole part. That's what it,
Actually, Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful, metaphor again. Like when you look for the children playing, when they're going round and round and round, they hold with one hand the pillar. And then they're not scared, they're not going to fall down. But the minute they leave that hand and they go around, the next thing, what is going to happen?
Nice. Thanks for recalling that. Well said. How are we doing for time?
oh, we have still 14 minutes.
Very good. Let's,
Yes. The next topic would be bondage and liberation are of the mind. It is all a question of the mind. Bondage and liberation are of the mind alone. The mind will take the color you dye it with. It is like white clothes just returned from the laundry. If you dip them in red dye, they will be red. If you dip them in blue or green, they will be blue or green. They will take only the color you dip them in, whatever it may be. Haven't you noticed that? If you read a little English, you at once begin to utter English words. Foot, fut, it, mit. Then you put on boots and whistle a tune and so on. It all goes together. Or if a scholar studies Sanskrit, he will at once rattle off Sanskrit verses. If you are in bad company, then you will talk and think like your companions. On the other hand, when you are in the company of devotees, you will think and talk only of God. This mind is everything. A man has his wife on one side and his daughter on the other. He shows his affection to them in different ways, but his mind is one and the same. Bondage is of the mind, and freedom is also of the mind. A man is free if he constantly thinks, I am a free soul. How can I be bound? Whether I live in the world or in the forest. I am a child of God, the King of Kings. Who can bind me? If bitten by a snake, a man may get rid of its venom by saying emphatically, there's no poison in me. In the same way, by repeating with grit and determination, I am not bound, I am free. One really becomes free. Once someone gave me a book of the Christians. I asked him to read it to me. It talked about nothing but sin. To Keshav, sin is the only thing one hears of at your Brahmo Samaj too. The wretch who constantly says, I am bound, only succeeds in being bound. He who says day and night, I am a sinner, verily becomes a sinner. That's the end of that little topic. Bondage and liberation are of the mind.
and this is what's so very clear that the master is saying. What it is that we rehearse, what it is that we repeat, that we become. As the poet said, as a man thinketh. As Goethe said, a man sees in the world what he carries in his heart. We must repeat the truth as we understand it, and not repeat and not rehearse the untruths. We are never bound. We only feel as if we're bound because we're distracted by the phenomenal world. And so we feel that drawn to this and that and the other thing. And we then begin to feel the limitations of that. Well, it's when we begin to feel those limitations that we begin to say, I'd better do my duties with just one hand and hold to God with the other. Anything else from anyone about any of that?
I think whatever we think in our mind, that manifests, Brother Shankara.
No question.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anything else from anyone? All right, let's read on.
Okay, redeeming power of faith. One have such burning faith in God that one can say, what? I have repeated the name of God and can still cling to me. How can I be a sinner anymore? How can I be in bondage anymore? If a man repeats the name of God, his body, mind, and everything become pure. Why should one talk only about sin and hell and such things? Say but once, O Lord, I have undoubtedly done wicked things, but I won't repeat them, and have faith in his name. Sri Ramakrishna became intoxicated with the divine love and sang, if only I can pass away, repeating Durga's name, how canst thou then, O blessed one, withhold from me deliverance, wretched though I may be. Master's prayer is the next. Then he said, to my divine mother, I prayed only for pure love. I offered flowers at her lotus feet and prayed to her, Mother, here is thy virtue, here is thy vice. Take them both and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy knowledge, here is thy ignorance. Take them both and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy purity, here is thy impurity. Take them both, Mother, and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy dharma, here is thy adharma. Take them both, Mother, and grant me only pure love for thee. To the Brahmo devotees, now listen to a song by Ramprasad. Come, let us go for a walk, O mind, to Kali, the wish-fulfilling tree, and there beneath it gather the four fruits of life. Of your two wives, dispassion and worldliness, bring alone dispassion only on your way to the tree, and ask her son discrimination about the truth. When will you learn to lie, O mind, in the abode of blessedness, with cleanliness and defilement on either side of you? Only when you have found the way to keep these wives contentedly under a single roof will you behold the matchless form of Mother Shama. Ego and ignorance, your parents, instantly banish from your sight. And should delusion seek to drag you to its hole, manfully cling to the pillar of patience. Tie to the post of unconcern the goats of vice and virtue, killing them with the sword of knowledge if they rebel. With the children of worldliness, your first wife plead from a goodly distance, and if they will not listen, drown them in wisdom's sea. Says Samprasad, if you do as I say, you can submit a good account, O mind, to the king of death, and I shall be well pleased with you and call you my darling. Why shouldn't one be able to realize God in this world? King Janaka had such realization. Ramprasad described the world as a mere framework of illusion. But if one loves God's hallowed feet, then this very world is a mansion of mirth. Here I can eat, here drink, and make merry. Janaka's might was unsurpassed. What did he lack of the world or the spirit? Holding to one as well as the other, he drank his milk from a brimming cup. all laugh. But one cannot be a King Janaka all of a sudden. Janaka at first practiced much austerity in solitude. That's the end of that topic. Any comments, Brother Shankara, from you or
I think that's all
let's
pretty
play.
self-explanatory. How
Master?
we do it for time?
Oh, we still have 5 minutes.
Anything at all from anyone about any of this? So what has the Master been telling us over and over? It's within your grasp to be free, to be liberated. It is the mother who will make the decision, and not everyone will be liberated all at once. The text about the kites and so on. But it will happen. And the more you yearn for it, the more likely it will be to happen. Nothing is guaranteed. But if we yearn for the divine's grace, that grace that we see is there, has always been. So I think we'll leave it at that for tonight.
Your Brother Shankara. Sounds good.
Get up there next week. Any
Rob-
final thoughts from anyone?
Yes, this is Jeff again.
Jeff?
I had heard the prayer before, but never knew where it came from. That Sri Ramakrishna says in this passage, "Mother, here is thy virtue, here is thy vice. Take them both and grant me only pure love for thee." And he goes through other examples of duality. In a way, he's kind of saying, take my duality and give me Brahman. And so it's kind of like an example of
Precisely.
bhakti resulting in jnana.
Exactly.
And I love that prayer, and I'm glad that I know where to find it now.
Yeah, and he said, it isn't mentioned here, but he said the only thing that he could not say this about was truth. He could not say, take your truth, take your untruth, and give me only pure love for thee. That truth had to remain the austerity of this age. And so I thought that was very interesting. But I like that prayer very much as well. Jeff, it just shows how we get to this purity of heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. We get to this purity of heart by this renunciation of the duality.
You always said that, Brother Shankara, all these years when we are doing in meditation, offer everything to Lord. Ask your ideal image, well, whoever is your Lord. Offer everything, good, bad, ugly, evil, everything, and ask him to draw you closer to his lotus feet and keep him near and dear right there. So that was the one you have taught us all these years.
Everything a Godward turn.
Exactly what his prayer is, virtues,
Exactly.
everything offer to him in your meditation.
Right.
When we are meditating, beginning of meditation, and then start our prayers.
Perfect.
That works really good. It really works.
Anything else from anyone before we sign off? All right. Well, there'll be class tomorrow evening, of course. And then Saturday. Let's see, I think we won't have class on Saturday because of Sadmaya coming. Check the website.
We have Swamiji coming 10 to 4 o'clock. It's a retreat, Saturday and Sunday, 6th and 7th.
Then then there won't be any class on Saturday.
Yes.
All right, all right, very good. Thank you for knowing that. So we'll see you tomorrow evening, if you wish to come, and then see you at either at the center itself, if you can come there, or on the Zoom. A great good night to everyone. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga Durga Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. And may we go forward secure in the knowledge that that Mother, Father being that is introduced at the beginning of the prayer that we recite to open these sessions, that Mother, Father being holds us in a loving and protective embrace. Jai Shri Ramakrishna Jai Ma. May we all be well and in bright spirits, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Happy New Year.